See if you can solve this problem. There is a very simple reason why the capital letters A, E, F, H, I are on top of the line and B, C, D, G, and J are below the line. You now have all the information to determine the system and solve the problem. Can you figure it out?
In determining where to place the rest of the letters, if you are searching for a math formula involving 1 to 26 to solve this, you are normal. We have been programmed in our upbringing that numbers can solve almost any problem. Show this to a 5-year-old and most will solve it in seconds. The 5-year-old has a much more open mind and can think outside the box in more dimensions. As we get older and more entrenched in one dimension, we fail to see the simple solutions that lie outside the box. But if we were more open-minded, we would instantly see that the letters with straight lines are on top and the letters with curves are on the bottom. Dr. Edward de Bono, who coined the term lateral thinking, points out that simple is only simple in retrospect, or looking backwards. It's amazing what type of complex formulas we can bring in determining if K belongs on top of the line or if it belongs on the bottom. In organizations, why do things become complex? Why does a one-page performance review become a 26-page inspection report that makes no sense? How does a 3-sentence dress code become a multi-page section in the employee manual? One of the main reasons can be seen in what happens when an organization grows. Let's say Jack starts a service business. He hires Jill to help him. How many lines of communication are there between Jack and Jill? Most people would say there are 2 lines of communication. There's what Jack says to Jill and what Jill communicates to Jack. But what most people don't realize is that there are actually 4 lines of communication. There's what Jack is saying to Jill, but also how Jill is interpreting what Jack is saying, and what Jill is saying to Jack, and what Jack is interpreting being said by Jill. So if we add Frank to the team, how many lines of communication exist? Most people would say there are 12 lines. But what most people don't know is that it doesn't increase by a multiple. It increases exponentially. There are 16 lines of communication because even though the quiet one is not communicating, they are interpreting what the others are saying to each other. So as the company grows, it's natural that things become more complex if we don't become obsessively aware of this. The Mana Coach is obsessed with keeping things simple because if we don't pay attention, it's natural that as the organization grows, things will become more complex. As a leader, when Steve Jobs returned to Apple, he threw most of the equipment out the door. Why? Because while he was gone, people at Apple had allowed things to become too complex, and Apple equipment is supposed to be simple. At EOS Worldwide, we talk about hitting the ceiling. As individuals or groups, we hit the ceiling, and one of the reasons is that we allow things to become much too complex. The question the whole team must be asking all the time is, how did something so simple get to be so complex? Dr. Edward de Bono says that only the simple-minded are afraid of the simple. If we make problems complex, we can feel good about not solving them. De Bono made his money by taking complex problems presented to him by companies and then taking them to school-aged children for solutions. He was smart enough never to share his source because the simple-minded in the organizations he worked for could not have tolerated such simple solutions if they had known the source. There's a simple solution to every problem if we are prepared and willing to open our minds again and look through different lenses. In determining why some letters are placed on top and some are on the bottom, you will never find a simple solution unless you're prepared to abandon the mathematical lens, for example, and look through the shape lens. It's that simple.
To have a healthier and more productive management team, go to www.themiraclemanager.com.